This is the golden age of the Filipino. In addition to asking the question, who are we and are we enough? We're starting to say, ah, this is who we are. Even though we're starting to like understand ourselves better, we are still so stuck in our ways and so stuck in our trauma and so stuck in like, Mabuhay and welcome back to the channel. My name is Tez Milan. I am a Filipina American creative on a mission to do a deep dive into my lost Philippine heritage, to learn as much as I possibly can and to share that with you. Happy second anniversary, everybody. We've made it this far. I'm gonna start off this video by saying that I have not edited any footage for like almost a month. The holidays hit. I always like to have the holidays be something like super chill, and you know, there's always so much going on already that I just don't want to contribute to the chaos that is the holidays in December. And so I closed my computer and I was done. Like done. And I was like, okay, I'll just give myself like a break. Maybe I'll take, you know, the Friday after Christmas and before New Year's off, and then I'll start editing again. And 1 week rolls around, 2 weeks roll around. And the third and fourth week, I think I'm in the beginning of the fourth week now of not editing anything. And I was just done. I was like, second year has like just completely, I don't want to say it's steamrolled over me because I don't want to sound like a victim, but like, man, the second year was intense for so many reasons. And I'm so grateful. Like, I can't even express just how grateful I am for all of the mind-blowingly amazing things that I got to do and experience the second year of this series. But I am very grateful, and I'm so grateful that I got to share it with you and that you've been there watching all of this and experiencing all of this with me. The gratitude is definitely there, but I will tell you, doing YouTube, doing any sort of social media on like a consistent basis is no joke. I mean, it is like intense, especially if like you really are dedicated to making this a thing. And when I first started doing this series, I was like, oh, you know, it'll be no problem to like, you know, be consistent, and I'll just, you know, get I'll meet my goals, the 1,000 subscribers, the 4,000 watch hours, I'll start making money, it'll be great. And it has been great, and I've achieved pretty much everything that I've set my heart on to accomplish with this series. There's this whole other side to doing YouTube, and especially doing a series like this where, you know, you're rediscovering a really deep and intimate part of yourself. Where do I even begin? You know, so like I have my trusty notebook. You've seen this notebook before. I have it usually during my interviews, especially if I feel insecure. It's sort of like my wubby. It's like my blankie. I have notes down about what it is that I want to talk about, which is like the way that I've up-leveled the series over the last year. It's just this other side of doing all of this stuff, right? Running around the, you know, just going from place to place, filming and editing. This other side that like I didn't even realize, couldn't have even imagined in my wildest dreams was going to happen doing this series. And it's in addition to like all the stuff that I've learned, but it's the way that this series has changed me. Oh my gosh. I follow a few people on YouTube, and they're like crying all the time because they get so emotionally wrapped up in what it is that they're doing on camera. And like, I totally get now why that happens, because it's like, this is the one place where you can be super raw and vulnerable and know that people are going to be listening, but at the same time, you're like doing it completely by yourself. Anyways, okay, so I totally like derailed that moment, but like, I just thought it was going to be this like exchange of information. Like I talked about this last year where I was just like, oh yeah, I thought my videos were just going to be like informational, and I was just going to sit in front of the camera and just talk about all the stuff that I research, and I'm just never going to leave my living room, and that's it. Like, that's super, like, it's so poetic the way that this whole thing has transpired, because I really thought I was going to have this like super removed, superficial relationship with like understanding in my mind what it means to be Filipino and what the Philippines is about and what it, you know, what their place is in history and all that stuff. And then when you start to like step out of the living room and step out and beyond the idea of knowing something in your mind, and then it suddenly hits your heart and your guts and your soul, and then you're just like wrapped up in it. And I think the thing I want to also say about last year is that there were so many things that happened. You're in the moment of doing all of these things, and then suddenly when you take a step back, like I did during the holidays, and you're just like, what the heck happened? Not only in terms of logistically, like all the different things and amazing things that I got to see and do, but like just what's happened to me? Knowing all of this and going down this path to find myself as it relates to an entire community of people that have been through something collectively. And then you look back on it and you're just like, oh, this is the reason why it's important to know our history. This is the reason why it's important to know the beautiful cultural things that we do, and because it comes from someplace. You know, it's like there's so many things that I learned about Filipinos, like in today, like the things that we do today, like the colors that we wear, why this jacket, which is representative of the flag of the Philippines, why it's red, white, and blue, because the Philippines has such an intricate, in-depth, intertwined, tangled relationship with the US. And I kind of scratched the surface of that the first year when I, was talking about why the Philippines has 2 independence days. And I was just like, gosh, that's so super strange. Like, why did the US pay $20 million to possess the Philippines and buy it from Spain? And not only, oh, now I know that, but then like, what are the repercussions of that? It's like mind-blowing when you think about like, oh, you know what? Every single action has emotional residue. Every single thing that you do has a flip side or this other side to it that is like just as important, if not more important than the actual doing. It's the repercussions of what it is that doing has on the people, as well as the generations to come. Like sitting here and doing this video, that's the main thing that I want to share with you, is all of this learning that I've done. It goes beyond the actual factual, these are the things that it means to be Filipino. I'm from here, I was born here, there's this emotional beingness of being Filipino that is just as important, if not more important, than the actual things that have happened to us. There's a reason why we don't know who we are. I sound like I'm yelling, and I'm not. We question constantly, like, what does it mean to be Filipino? Am I Filipino enough? It's because for generations, we've been told and shown that we can't own who it is that we are. And then we tell ourselves the same story over and over and over again because we don't realize how wonderful and beautiful we are. It's true, we really don't know who we are, but we're figuring it out. That's what's exciting about this day and age, like right now, is that we are like really big time figuring out what it means to be Filipino and starting to own it in bits and pieces. We currently are recreating and redefining what it means to be Filipino. We were like kind of stuck, and we still are, but we were stuck in this like way of being and thinking, I think for like maybe about a good 500 years. And this like stems from the moment that like Europe came over and they were just like, okay, now we're here. And then from there, at the end of like the late 1800s, then suddenly the US came in, and then they became a really big part of our story. And it's like in that we lost ourselves, like emotionally, psychologically, we completely lost ourselves. Now in 2024, as I'm filming this, we are suddenly interested in ourselves again because of social media, allowing us to share our stories in a very big way. It starts there. And then because of that, suddenly entertainment, where people have to invest lots of money in order to make entertainment happen, are suddenly like, okay, well, there's this like group of really talented people who also have like now a market and people that actually want to pay to see them. And so now they're choosing like stories and choosing actors and choosing, figures. And And so like we're being validated to have a voice, and it's just going to keep perpetuating. Like this is going to continue to grow. Now we're starting to really define who it is that we are, because we're looking back, and then we're also establishing ourselves in the present day. And this is why what it is that we're doing to learn about ourselves is so important, is because now we're starting to define where it is that we want to go in the future. And I think it's going to look very different from the last 500 years. It's like pivotal time. It's almost like the same as when like the Spanish came in. Very different, obviously, because we're not being colonized, but like, and now we're actually in a place where we're going to say, hey, this is what we are and this is what we want to do. But like, it's sort of like the pivotal shift, the turning point for Filipinos is happening like right now. This is the golden age of the Filipino, because we're finally coming into our own, and we are finally, in addition to asking the question, who are we and are we enough? We're starting to say, this is who we are. And this is what we stand for. And this is how we want to present ourselves. And here's the crazy part about it, is that, like I said, you know, it's like, even though we're starting to like understand ourselves better, we are still so stuck in our ways, and so stuck in our trauma, and so stuck in like, all of the darkness of what it means to be Filipino. And I'm sorry, I just want to say really quickly, I'm sorry, because like now the light's shifting and suddenly the light's going to start hitting me. So it's going to be kind of weird for a minute. And it's actually kind of like, this is actually very poetic too, because like we are stuck in like the light and the dark of what it, like, this is exactly where we're at. We're like, okay, now we're no longer blind to who it is that we are. We're not just in the darkness and then grappling with, oh, crab mentality, and you know, being racist against other ethnicities and racist against our own people. And, you know, and then we're not just like, oh, we're so in the light and everything is great and oh, we see exactly who we are and we're so like, we've got it all figured out. We're like definitely like right in the middle. This is it. This is like exactly what it means to be Filipino right at this moment. Is it's like we're lifting ourselves out of the dark ages of like understanding who it is that we are, and we're starting to understand who we are, but now we're also grappling with the responsibility of what it is that we are, and coming to terms with our darkness, and the darkness that has happened to us, and the darkness that we continue to put ourselves in. And when bad stuff happens among Filipinos, because we're not, you know, we're not saints. I'm not a saint, I know that for sure. And I have my moments where I just want to destroy everything around me. And having a better understanding of my history and my heritage gives me compassion to go, oh, it's not because you're an evil person. It's just because this is the stuff that you learned, that we have learned for generations and generations how to be as a people. I'm sorry that this is happening. It's terrible. And I have compassion for it. Now, what are we going to do about it? That's the main thing about why this whole thing is so important, is again, where do we want to go moving forward in the future, knowing what it is that we know. So now that I've like said all of that, and it like, I don't know if you're still with me or if any of that like makes sense. At the end of the day, thank you for being there. Really appreciate you being there. I really mean it when it says at the end of the episodes, your presence makes all the difference. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Who knows where this adventure will take us? And I'm just so glad I get to do it with you. Thanks for being there. I will see you, I don't know if it's gonna be next week, but I will see you very soon. Paalam, goodbye.